Oregon and Ohio State take on each other in the Rose Bowl. Joe, a rematch here. Now, we all thought that we were going to get a rematch of this game, but we thought the rematch would be in the Big Ten title game, but it's not. It's in the Rose Bowl, the grandfather of them all. I'm going to talk about it here tonight. How do you see this one going?
Yeah, this is going to be a really exciting game. And I mean, one could argue that this should be the national title game, but instead we're getting it 2 rounds early. And it's sad that we're not going to get to see these teams both compete for a national championship. We know that Oregon is one of the most well-rounded teams in the country, and they have played consistent ball every single week. We know that their offense is so gifted with what they have at receiver with Evan Stewart and Tez Johnson. And the way that their offensive line with Cornelius and Connerly, the way that they have boosted the quality of that offensive line play, despite a shaky start to the season, has been super, super notable. Their pass rush has been great with Mateo Uiagalelei and Derek Harmon and the things that they've been able to do. But I can't help but feel, and it goes all with everything that I've said, the fact that they've played each other, and this game was a close loss for Ohio State at Autzen. I really do think that Ohio State on a neutral field in the Rose Bowl is going to be able to win this game. If they come out with that same level of intensity, and if Chip Kelly schemes things up as effectively as he does, the most important part here, if they're really aggressive downhill, if they are very aggressive running the football with Quinshon Judkins and Travion Henderson against a team that this year is 110th in defensive EPA per rush. They're one of the worst teams in the country in rush yards, explosive rush plays allowed. They're giving up too much, and we saw that in the Big Ten championship game. This is a equally dominant rushing attack. Like that for me is the main focal point. If they can't stop Ohio State's run game between a matchup of 2 evenly matched teams and one has the biggest hole, that hole is going to cause problems for Oregon, and Ohio State can win this game.
I agree with what you're saying in the sense of that Oregon has been leaky in the running game, right? Like very leaky in the running game. I mean, look what Penn State did to you. Now, I think that you have a newer offensive line coming into this game than you saw the first go around. So those guys at the left tackle, right guard, whatever. Like I remember, what was it, Jack Sawyer going up to the right guard and saying, "Hey man, look, you took a beating after Michigan, but you played a great game. Great job." I'm with you on. Listen, you need to be able to establish the run and run the football. I'm not disagreeing. Man, I'm throwing the ball all over the place to Megatron and them dudes. I'm sorry. You're just too talented. I get Will Howard. I get the mistake really isn't on him. The interception, not really. I mean, he's throwing dimes, man. You got to get the ball to the playmakers out in space and let them go to work. Here's the crazy thing. I think that you've gotten better. You've faced adversity along the way. So has Oregon. But there does come a part where do I trust Ohio State? Because I know the talent's there. But Dillon Gabriel can and will be a problem if you allow him to be. It's very tough to beat a good team twice. It's why it doesn't happen in the NFL very often. Can Ohio State continue to play with that same intensity that they played with against Tennessee? How pissed off are you? How focused are you? Because when you're focused and locked in with all that talent, you're probably the best team in the country.
Right.
But Oregon continues to find ways to win. And, Joe, the question becomes, how does that week off, them not having to play, do they come in there with fresher legs? Does it help them? That being off is going to be a big deal. Is there rust? I don't know. We're going to find out. But one thing that I do know is that this is very two talented teams. But, man, if you continue to find number 4, if you're Ohio State, I think you can win this thing. And you're right. You got to stay with the running game. But, man, you got to continue to have that same game plan of pushing the ball down the field like you did against the Volunteers.
So that's the big thing on the other side of this. Like if Ohio State were to lose what factors into it for Oregon is, one, they're going up against a much more banged up and weaker offensive line than the one that they saw the first time they faced them. And there's going to be an easier time getting home with a pass rush that has matured and improved every single week, and that has gotten consistently better since that first matchup when they already played really good the first time they played. And the second part about this, I think Ohio State's secondary that got cooked, specifically Denzel Burke, Igbinosun had a decent game the first time. I feel like that they have gotten better since then. But do they just revert back to their mean? Do they just revert back to the fact that they can't cover Tez Johnson and they can't cover Evan Stewart? That's like the largest question mark, because I feel like I know that Ohio State's going to be able to run the ball. I feel like I know that Oregon's going to be able to get sacks and pressures on Will Howard easier than what we just saw from Tennessee. But are we going to see the same level of ease in the passing game from Evan Stewart and Tez Johnson? That to me is like the largest question that could really swing this thing.
Are we going to see a better passing attack from Ohio State?
Well, they didn't particularly have a bad game throwing the ball,
Joe.
The first time
I'm telling you, man, they have not scratched the surface of the peak of what they can be offensively. I'm telling you, they haven't. Not with those dudes at receiver. No way.
It's a fair point.
Okay. Jeremiah Smith changes a lot of things for a lot of people. So we'll see. In reference to Oregon, to your point, I trust Dillon Gabriel a lot, man. And he gets in these kinds of games and he goes stupid. He starts running around making plays and he goes stupid. You better contain him. Now, the thing with Oregon with me is I don't know if I don't play a little keep away early, okay, to get my defense into the rhythm of the game too. So it's going to be interesting to see how both of them counteract here. Final point for me, Ohio State's still 43rd in the country and third down offensive percentage.
What do you mean an offensive percentage? Like in offensive success on third down.
Offensive success on third down.
Got it.
They're 43rd. They're going up against a defense that has been very good at getting after the passer on third down. So to your point, if there is a chink in the armor that we're going to see here, can Oregon go out there and be physical? And look, man, they were banged up going into that Big Ten title game. They've had a little time to rest. Let's see how they counteract here. But it's tough. It's very tough to go against either one of these teams, to be real with you.
If you had a lean, just for the sake of the title of this video, if you had a lean.
If I had the lean, I'd go Ohio State.
Okay. All right. Oregon fans, we're not just out. We're not saying that you're going to get smoked.
We're going to get clipped. We're going to get their social.
Should we get the social? Should we give him the social guy like a really out of context clip? Oregon's going to get blown out.
Yeah, there we go.
Go ahead,
because he loves to clip us. Just not in a good way. Maybe Ohio State should counteract that.
Yeah, no,
I do think Ohio State is there. The talent's there. Can you overcome? Can Ryan Day? That's another thing, Joe. You did it against Tennessee. Good. Can you get over that ultimate hump?
Right.
Oregon's going to be the hump that you're really like him getting over that hump's going to be bigger than what, anyway.
BetOnline remains your top spot for all of your live betting action and contests. NFL, college football, UFC, NHL are all in full swing. BetOnline is your number one source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions with both desktop and mobile access at any time. Head to BetOnline today and use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for 50% off your first deposit. That is a 50% welcome bonus. BetOnline, where the game starts.